Well, the attacks on two mosques in New Zealand has really focused attention on the impact social media can have in these types of attacks after the shooter filmed what took place at the Al-Nur Mosque in a Facebook Live video post. Well, Facebook has since deleted the post and then announced that it's to set up new detection technology and an online resource hub to help people respond when abuse occurs. Keolev Litaro is a senior fellow at the Auburn University Center for Cyber and Homeland Security, joins us now from Washington. Thank you for taking the time to speak to us. And this footage of the attacker opening fire on worshippers, as you know, was live streamed online. What does this reveal about the potential power of social media in spreading messages based on fear and hatred?
You know, with every advance of technology comes a downside. You know, the idea of social media was to give a voice to the everyday person, but in contrast, that can also be used to spread everything from hate speech to, terrorism content, as we've seen in this particular case. And unfortunately, I think this is something we're going to see more and more, with the rise of live streaming, the ability to stream these things as they happen with the idea that they can't be censored.
Of course, when it comes to the issue of censorship, there's been criticism of how that kind of impinges on freedom of speech and things like that in the past. On the flip side, could social media also be a useful tool in helping to identify and expose those with extremist opinions and possibly those who might perpetrate such an attack?
You know, this is a case where I think the social media companies have really failed. You look at Twitter, there's reports that he posted that manifesto yesterday, giving a lot of detail. There's absolutely no reason that should not have been flagged and sent to authorities. Take Facebook, with the video itself, the AI technology that we have today for scanning video, is incredibly good at detecting weaponry, detecting gunfire, at detecting screams, of detecting violence. This isn't something that's in a research lab 10 years out. These are tools we have today. And the fact that Facebook is not, obviously in this case, is not deploying them well enough, or they haven't gotten them. They haven't really gotten to a point where they're deploying them in a good enough fashion. And that's, we have the technology today. It's really the will from the social media companies.
You say that, but my guest a little bit earlier was saying that the rise of right-wing violence is nothing new. He was citing the Anders Breivik killing of 77 people in Norway. Here in this country, you had the murder of British MP Joe Cox. You had the killing of Jewish worshippers in Pittsburgh. Is it the responsibility of social media companies, or do counter-terrorism agencies need to invest more resources in this?
I mean, certainly, obviously, it's not just social media. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that have to happen here. But, one of the purposes when people do these things, they're not just taking action. To them, they're taking an action to get their voice, to get it out there, to publicize it. You look, his manifesto is being reported on news outlets across the world. His footage is being broadcast. Imagery is out there. And so, I think, obviously, there's a lot of things that need to happen here. But social media, I think we can largely agree that there's a real need to censor graphic violent content. Now, of course, we might argue that, repressive government somewhere opening fire on protesters, we might say, hey, that should be broadcast. And that's why I think, to me, really, the ideal solution is using AI to flag a live video the instant that there's a gun, showing up and someone marching towards a building with a gun. The video should pause, and that should go to a human reviewer who can then decide, yes, this is something that should be broadcast, this is something noteworthy, or this is something that really we need to stop, and most importantly, notify law enforcement.
Keolev Litaro, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.